So I put two of my cars onto Hyrecar. I took them off of Turo. I started with one car and then that one went well. So I put a second one on. And I apologize for the weird format right here, but I wanted to block out my renters' names and I'm too lazy to go back and edit it because it's way more work. So I took my 2009 Prius off of Turo. Or no, my 2008 Prius, took it off of Turo. So I basically just started off with like my car that is the least valuable. And also I figured a Prius would do well in Hyrecar since Hyrecar caters towards people who are going to use the car to do like Uber, Lyft, and things like that. So, it gets really good gas mileage. And the first renter I got with my 2008 Prius was actually amazing. One thing I was worried about was people driving the cars like too many miles since people are doing Uber or Lyft with them. But the girl who rented it for me, I think she was kind of doing like Uber Eats or something on the side, and then she had like a normal job too, so she kind of like mainly needed it to commute and things like that. And she had the car from uh, 10/18/22 to February 1st 23, and I got $3,351 total from that trip. And she brought the car back like clean. She was responsible. There wasn't any damage to the car. I mean, considering she had it for over 3 months and she has two little kids, the car was brought back like really clean. There were no issues with it. The only issue was I had once where I think she had gotten a new phone and I couldn't get a hold of her. I was trying to get a hold of her to do, I don't know, some maintenance on the car, check the oil level or something like that. But that's the cool thing about Hyrecar is people will rent your cars for months at a time and you're doing like no work, which is really kind of what I want. Like, I do not like to spend very much time working. I want to be able to travel more. And on top of just doing way less work, actually getting more money from Hyrecar. I can price it higher. I was getting a little under like 900, over 900 I think per month per car, and just doing like pretty much no work. You just have to stay on top of the oil changes and things like that. And the second car, I ended up putting my 2009 Prius on there as well because the 2008 was doing really good with the first runner. So that one was from November 29th 2022 to February 17th 2023 he had it. So what is it? It's about two and a half months, and I got $2,483 from that. He would have kept it longer, but he ended up getting in like a minor accident. This runner was not very great. I should have taken the car from him sooner, to be honest. Still learning this stuff as I go. But he ran out of gas once before he returned it, and if he had just told me, I could have just came and just brought some gas to him, which isn't that big of a deal for me. I mean, if he's renting the thing for months at a time for me, I'm doing like no work, I don't really mind bringing somebody gas, one time. But he ran out of gas and then ended up leaving the car, I don't know, just sitting in the car or something, and the car ended up getting towed and impounded because it was like kind of in the way in the road. And Hyrecar actually offers, with the insurance, they include, they'll reimburse you for impound stuff, but I didn't really look into it. I kind of wanted to get the car back to him because I was just, enjoying not having to work and getting the money from him. But I should have taken the car back then, and I didn't know that Hyrecar had the impound reimbursement. I didn't really look into that either, but he kept the car, and I offered, he was giving me payments, like weekly payments to pay it off. I think it was about $440, the impound fees. He paid me like $110 right away, and he did end up finishing the payments for that. But I don't know, the car, to be honest, the car smelled horrible. I think he might have been living in it or something. And I was kind of like, whatever, as long as he takes decent care of it, I'm getting the money, I don't really care that much. But should have just been a red flag. I think the main thing with Hyrecar that I've learned is it's really up to you to like really screen the renters, and if you notice red flags, just take the car backs, take your cars back, like get them back before they end up just getting in an accident or getting super dirty or something like that. And I think if you're doing Hyrecar too, you definitely need tracking devices, but probably I would say that you want to have a tracking device that you can disable the car with so it can't be started. So the 2008 one got returned. The 2009, I'm still working on fixing it. I'm still waiting to get paid out for the damage claim too. One thing with Hyrecar, they're definitely very slow to pay you out for the damage claims. Turo, I don't know, maybe made 3 or 4 damage claims with them, and they pay me cash within like 3 days. They are extremely fast. Hyrecar, I think it's been about a week and a half for my 2009 Prius, and I'm just still waiting. They say it takes about 2 weeks to a month though. And I think part of the reason it takes longer with them is because there's so many there's like multiple different insurance companies that they're kind of working with. So like Hyrecar kind of insures stuff themselves, I think, and will pay you. But then also, since the cars are being used for like Uber, Lyft, it can go through their insurance as well. And then I think it's something like if it's a cheap insurance claim, Hyrecar handles it themselves. But if it's over a certain amount, they have to let like a third-party insurance company handle it. So it might be part of the reason it takes so long. But I'll keep you guys updated with that, and I'll make videos just based on these damage claims with the other cars too. But even so, the 2009 one got in an accident. I still got about $2,500 from the car, and it was pretty minor damage, I think, which I pretty much kind of fixed all of it right now. Depending on how much cash they give me and everything, it could end up just working in my favor too. But just the real downside is if they take a long time to pay me back for the damage claims, and if there end up being like a lot of damage claims, that could be really bad because I don't want my cars just sitting there not making money. So that really sucks. But there is kind of a thing where, say, I have 2 damage claims going now. So if these go smoothly and they pay me well with the cash, and I know how to do my own like body work and repairs and stuff, which is usually what I end up doing when it's like minor stuff. If they pay me well with the cash, what I can do is just fix the cars myself right when I get them back, get them rented again. Maybe if they're not allowing me to put them on Hyrecar yet, I could even just swap them over to Turo while I'm waiting for Hyrecar to finish up their claim and let me put the car back on their platform. I'm not sure exactly how this stuff works yet. But anyway, my 2008 Prius with the second renter turned out to be horrible. I have just a very short video showing the damage right now that I made to send the claims adjuster, but she only had it from February 3rd, and so she ended up taking the car, actually renting it just 2 days after it came back from my first renter, which was great, or I thought it was great. Definitely another thing with Hyrecar, there's no way to get like toll reimbursements like there is with Turo. It's basically up to you. So if you live in a place where there's a lot of tolls, like I do, I live in San Francisco Bay Area. We're just surrounded by, there's bridges all over, and the bridge tolls are $7 each, so the tolls can really rack up. So what you need to do is get either make them have their own account, like we use Fast Track here, there's Easy Pass or whatever the thing is that pays for the tolls. Make them have their own account and use that, take it off your account, or just take a deposit from them up front. I'm just going to start requiring, I think, maybe $100 or $150 deposit up front for my renters, even if they're not. My first renter also, I don't think she ever went through a single toll. She was only using it in like one area. So that was something that I didn't really learn from my first renter. My second renter also, he started going through tolls, but he paid me for that too, so I wasn't too worried. But now that it's over, he kind of owed me for like more tolls. And then I got another parking ticket that I think Hyrecar actually has a way to get reimbursed for parking tickets, so I still need to look into that actually. But anyway, getting back to the second renter with my 2008 Prius, she racked up like $140 in bridge tolls, which I can't get back from her now, and she only had it for 2 weeks. And usually, so Hyrecar, you'll get these notifications every single day. They rent it they basically just pay for the car day by day. So you get a notification every day saying that they renewed their rental or saying that their rental is late. And for some reason, I didn't get notifications that this one was late. But I realized I'm like, hey, I haven't gotten notifications saying that she renewed it. I looked, it was like 2 days late. So I messaged her, hey, I need the car back like right now, or I'm going to report it as stolen to the police. She got back to me like, oh yeah, I can bring it back tomorrow. I'm like, no, I need it back now unless you're going to pay to rent it longer. So she brings it back and she was like, oh yeah, so the back window got smashed and the sides of it got like hit or dented. I was like, oh damn. And she didn't tell me that when it happened. That's a major red flag. If if damage happens to your car and they don't tell you, like message you about it right away, that's just like some of the worst renters right there. And I ended up looking into it. The back window was broken, it had some dents in the side, and they'd put like tape and this like the car is kind of a light green. They put this completely different colored green. I don't know if it was like spray paint or nail polish or something over some of the dents, which is like really weird. So I ended up looking into it, and the car, she claimed that it was in a parking lot, and she came back to it, found it like that. The car had actually been shot with 5 bullets, 3 of them in the back. Only window that got broken was the little one, but one of the bullets actually went through the back seat and then all the way through the front passenger seat also, like all the way through the car. It's pretty crazy. So I don't know if anybody in the car got hit or not. It kind of looked like they might have been, running away from someone who's shooting at them. And when I look at the inside of the car, the car is like filled with like ash. There's like marijuana crumbs all over like the floor and stuff, and then like some pieces of like blunt wrappings and things. My friend said it looked like he found blood on the steering wheel actually, which I don't know. I did see that. There's a tiny bit of red stuff. It could have been ketchup, I don't really know. And there was also just weird shit. The car was like, considering she only had it for 2 weeks, it was like filthy on the inside. There's just like some little stains and stuff on the seats. So I'm not giving up on Hyrecar yet. I mean, I know that's pretty bad. I had 3 different people rent my cars. 2 of them ended up in damage claims. But, I'm not really like, we'll see how the damage claims pay me out, first of all. If the process is horrible and they don't pay me well, then I might never use Hyrecar again. I don't know. But I don't want to give up on it. I think the main thing I learned was I just need to screen my renters much better. And what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to require like $100 or $150 deposit up front. And one thing that'll do is if I, tickets or bridge tolls or like cleaning or whatever, that'll make sure that I have cash for that. It'll also screen out probably worse renters that just don't have like any money, because if they can't afford that, like the small deposit that I want, I probably don't want them renting my car anyway. Another thing I'm going to do is once a week, I'm going to require them to take like pictures all around the outside of the car, some quick pictures of the interior, and then just pictures of the odometer too, so I can keep track of the mileage and all that. And what that'll do, and I'll warn them up front, hey, if you keep the interior of my car real dirty, I'm going to take the car right back from you. If you get any damage on the car, don't tell me about it, I'm going to immediately take the car back from you. And that'll, it'll keep them taking care of, it'll force them to take better care of my cars most likely. Also if anything happens, I'll know I can get the car back right away. One little thing too is like you got to make sure that when it's time to change your oil, the renters on here can be bad about letting you know that the maintenance light comes on. So that's another thing too. If I force them to take those photos, I'll know if it needs an oil change or anything. I also need to stay on top of these older Priuses. They kind of burn through oil. So I need to stay on top of like checking the oil like every, I don't know, like 1,500 or 2,000 miles or so. Especially my 09 Prius, the engine's a bit worn out in that one. It burns through oil very fast. So that it kind of makes it a little bad for Hyrecar. But as long as I stay on top of it, checking the oil, keeping it topped off, it's really no problem. So that's my experience with Hyrecar so far. Definitely very amazing as far as the money you can get and how passive it is, but I definitely need to try it out more. see if I can get better renters, and I need to see how these damage claims go. Another thing that I found very annoying about their website, and they're like, I think they have an app, but it doesn't work if you're an owner. Just their website and stuff is bad. Like, one thing I like, a lot of times you have to there's customer support's pretty good though. It's usually pretty quick. Like, so when I first get the car rented, it's always like they're generating the insurance, and it seems to be like pending, and I have to call them up and be like, hey, the insurance is still not ready. And I call them and they like push it through. And another thing, when my 2009 Prius was damaged, I had to get it towed because it had 2 flat tires. And their tow service, once I got it going, was actually very quick and very good, and I don't have to pay anything for it. But you have to put in the request for the tow online through like email, and I'm waiting, and I had to call them up, and they're like, well, hey, if it's just a flat tire, we can't, that's kind of on you. It's not like an accident. We're not gonna. And I'm like, no, it was an accident. Like, you drove over a curb. There's 2 flat tires. Like, it has to be towed. And as soon as I explained them that, and they pushed it through, and then the tow truck showed up in like 20 minutes, which is cool. But some other bad things, there's a $500 deductible, and that's the highest level of insurance I can get. So I think no matter what, there's like $500 out of pocket for damage claims. So if you don't have a way of doing like cheap, body work or repairing it yourself, or, you can't get somebody else to do it for cheap, that could be an issue if you're getting, quite a bit of damage claims. $500 out of pocket is quite a bit. But you could just kind of mitigate those costs by maybe if you can just keep your day prices high enough. Another thing that was annoying is they have a $75 reimbursement for cleaning, but I filed a cleaning claim, but they denied it because they want to see a receipt from like a detail shop or like a shop for cleaning it, and I clean my own cars, so that seemed kind of ridiculous. But what I did ask, I was like, well, I haven't registered LLC, so I'm like, can I just make a receipt from my own business? The guy I talked to on the phone said I could. I'm not totally sure if that'll work yet, but the next time that happens, I'm going to try doing that and see if it'll work. I'll just just make a receipt from like print out a template online, fill out a receipt with just my own business on it, and see if that can work. $75 isn't much either. Like, when a car is really gross, the interior, I think 150, like Turo's policy is better, especially when you're trying to get smells out of the car, like stains out of the seats. But I am not totally done with Hyrecar. I still want to try it a bit more. If I can get this working and get more, and I want to be able to really get more cars onto the platform, and so it can make it a lot easier for me to travel and can make it, more passive for me. And I want to kind of hopefully have cars on Hyrecar and cars on Turo. So that's been my experience with Hyrecar so far.